Actually, I'm filming myself now doing my makeup. See? This is the first time though where like I've come back from being gone for a while and things actually feel different. Like,
Are you going somewhere?
well, this will be interesting. This is the first time I've like been on camera to film a YouTube video in like 10 months or something like that. For the past 10 months, I've been living in / traveling around Europe, and now I'm back. And while I was there, I was partying, I was drinking, I was constantly social. And when I was abroad, I really found a community of people who I really love and cherish. People that feel like home more than I've really ever experienced before. I find myself in the same exact place as I was before, and it is really nice, like reconnecting with my family and reconnecting with some of my like long-term closest friends. But it's strange not having the abundance of social opportunities that I had when I was abroad. And now I'm here and just kind of transported back into the world that I was absent from for an entire year. Well, almost an entire year. This was the first year where I missed Christmas with my family, and it made me realize, is this what being an adult is like? Like, you're not at home most of the time anymore. You're living your own life outside of your family, making your own decisions, making your own choices in terms of where you want to go next, where you want to live, what career path you're gonna take. And then meanwhile, I'm back in this environment with the same people who still perceive me as the way I was when I left. When I'm not really that person anymore, I think my brain has gotten severely fucked up over the past few months. But for the most part, I don't feel like the same person I was when I left. And I think I've always had this feeling and this trigger around the idea of I don't belong anywhere. And I think after living in such a different environment with such different people from all walks of life, I think I've just come to realize I don't belong here. I don't know if it's about the physical location. I don't know if it's about the habits. I don't know if it's just about the people. It's probably about the people. That's always what it is, isn't it? And I think one of the fears that pops up for me with home not feeling like home anymore is how much of this travel, nomadic, being the coolest person on earth lifestyle is just a form of escapism, is just a form of running away from myself. In 2020, I profoundly changed as a person. I went through a huge spiritual awakening. I basically felt like this feeling of confirmation that God does exist, or the universe really is like a conscious, interactive thing. I've basically spent all of my time since 2020 looking for my community. And then here I am just randomly solo traveling on a fluke in 2022. And at the tail end of my trip, I just stumbled upon this community of people where I had never felt so loved, accepted. I felt like I belonged. And so I stayed for longer. I think what made me feel so at home is that everybody was on a fresh slate with people who see me as a fresh person and don't see me through this filter of the Danny that I've been for 4, 5, 10, whatever, many number of years. And even though there were like people who knew me from before, they know me as the Danny who is staying in hostels and traveling, the version of myself that goes out a lot, that's explorative, the version of myself that can party hard, the version of myself that's super bubbly and super outgoing, super comfortable around people and inclusive and loving and good vibes. At least I hope that's what my friends think of me. Otherwise, why are you my friend? I just had the opportunity to get in touch with so many aspects of myself that I didn't even know were aspects of me. Because ever since I graduated high school, to be quite honest with you, I've been an indoor cat. Sitting in my room, in the darkness, sitting on my phone for a little bit too long to the point where it's almost concerning. And I think part of the reason I also have stayed overseas for so long is because I've always been afraid of going back to that version of myself. The version of myself that's insecure, the version of myself that feels awkward around people, the version of myself that's afraid to be myself, to be vulnerable, to speak up about what's going on in my mind. And when I went abroad, I found a pocket of life that I had no fucking idea existed. And I felt like I had the opportunity to be more myself than ever before. And the first time I went back home, it felt like I was pretty disconnected from those parts of myself. And when I was abroad, like so many of the social opportunities were centered around drinking and centered around partying. And so I really deeply engaged in that. When I first got there, girl, oh my god, I was drinking like 5 or 6 nights a week for like 2 months, and I've never blacked out. I'm very good. I'm very good at knowing where my limit is. But goddamn, like my memory, like my sober memory started to fail me. And that's quite upsetting. You know, back home, like I don't really drink. I drink maybe twice a month. Maybe. I also realized when you're in such a social environment for so long, you don't really have the opportunity to be selective about who you hang out with. You kind of have to just be cool with everybody, because sometimes you're just with a big old group of people who want everybody to feel welcome, everybody to feel like they belong, and sometimes those people are a bit of energy suckers. And here's the thing about like energy suckers, sometimes when they're in a good mood, they are the most fun people to hang out with. There's so many moments where their vibe is just so mwah. And then there's moments where they feel entitled, or they cross certain lines and they're not really willing to listen to your boundaries. And so you have like 2 options or 3 options maybe. You can avoid them, which means you're gonna avoid also most of your friends. You can set your boundary with them and then cause a reaction that creates drama that feels unnecessary, or you can just kind of endure and tolerate a lot of it. I chose the last option for the most part. What I found about kind of like the traveling nomadic community is that so many people will continue to offer kind of a fresh slate for you. I mean, even speaking for myself, I have found that my immediate instinct with people is kind of to be a little judgmental, but I make a very conscious effort to always look for the good in every person, because some of the people I've judged the most end up being some of the people who become my closest friends. And the more I get to know that person and share energy with that person, the more I realize how healthy of a relationship I have with them, how many beautiful different insights they get to offer me that helps me grow as a person. And so part of me kind of wants to offer that opportunity to everybody that walks into my life. But when you do that for so many people, oh my God, is it draining? And oh my God, sometimes it's not really worth it. Like sometimes you just gotta trust your intuition when your intuition says that person's gonna drain the fuck out of my energy, and then you're able to actually funnel your energy into where it matters. And so coming home has felt different, and while in some ways that could be skewed as a negative, I really feel like generally it's a super positive thing for me. By the end of my time in Europe, I was definitely feeling quite burnt out. I was like socially just so done with posturing for people. I was so done with constantly putting on my best, brightest, happiest face. Oh God. The beginning of this year, like the month of January, was probably one of the hardest months of my life, if not the hardest month of my life. My relationship that I was in basically crumbled on New Year's Eve, and then it crumbled some more. And then all of my closest friends were also going through breakups or fires in their relationships or family situations. The month of January for me was just a complete shitstorm. And when you're going through some intense shit in your life, but you're constantly around people, you have no space of privacy, and the most privacy you get is at a cafe or a park, which is still a public space. It's so hard to keep that brave face on and to try to be the person that's like a fresh and welcoming energy for everybody when your whole life and your relationships feels like it's crumbling before your eyes. When I'm home, my favorite thing to do is just to go in my car and go on a drive and just sob like a literal baby and really feel the depth of my feelings and let my body kind of purge that energy in whatever way it needs to. And I can't really go into a hostel bathroom and just scream my brains out. It's not really an appropriate place to do that. So I journaled a lot. I meditated less than I should. And when I was around people, what I started to realize, even though on a really deep soul level, I strongly connect to so many of the people around me, I realized so much of my time was watching a movie that I didn't really want to watch, but I was watching it because it's what everybody else wanted to put on. Or going out to a bar or a club that I didn't really want to go to, but I was going there because I wanted to be around the people who were there, or because I just didn't want to be alone. And in so many ways that was amazing, because sometimes I wouldn't want to go out, and then I would go out and have one of the best nights of my entire experience. And I would come back feeling better and in a different, deeper state of gratitude. And sometimes I didn't really want to go to another location at that exact point in time, but then I would, and I would meet some people who I still consider to be some of my closest friends to this day. But at the same time, there were so many moments where I would do the things that I deep down kind of knew I didn't really want to do, and it eats up my time. In so many ways, I don't feel fully at home here anymore. My life feels kind of empty. I still have social opportunities, I still have friends out here, but honestly, I'm so tired. And what I've kind of realized is when you go home, when home doesn't really feel like home anymore, that's not necessarily a bad thing. I think a lot of travelers kind of end up developing this heaviness around going home. We're afraid that going back home means returning to our old patterns, returning to the same exact types of friendships that we grew up with. It means we're kind of forced back into a life of normalcy. And I think one of the hardest parts is when home doesn't feel like home anymore. Like, yeah, there is this energy of being able to rest and recover and cocoon. But on the flip side, it can also come with an energy of being stagnant and feeling like life isn't moving forward and feeling like you're waiting for the next chapter of your life to happen instead of being present with where you are now and enjoying the opportunities and the experiences that are right in front of you. And we tend to appreciate them a lot less because we're so accustomed to these things. And you go to a different place and you change so much that where you grew up just doesn't feel the same. What I've kind of come to realize this time around is I have this freshness of energy and this newfound appreciation and desire to live my life the way that I want to. Like, for example, when I was abroad, I wasn't really working out. I wasn't really taking care of my health. I was getting either the nice, yummy local food that was around, or I was eating the cheapest stuff that I could find. Like, in the States, do you know how often I go to McDonald's? Fucking never. When I was abroad, do you know how often I got McDonald's? More than I would like to admit. And what's nice about coming back is this is really the opportunity for me to actually integrate the habits that I want to perpetuate and continue in my life. Because honestly, my number one priority right now is figuring out how I can live my life in a way that sustainably feels good to me. Because even though I gained a lot of those things while living abroad, I've come to realize that so much of the me feeling good part kind of came down to circumstances, came down to like how I was making other people feel, and in turn how they're making me feel. And in a way, I was kind of giving up a lot of my agency in order to sustain myself in that kind of environment. And out here, I get to decide what I eat, when I eat, whether I'm around people or not. I'm the one that gets to discern how often I go to the gym. I'm the one that gets to decide how often I pick up my camera and make a video. Like the other day, I had a day here that kind of felt like one of my old days. I had just finished the video that I made of Tahoe, so I had no footage to work with. I didn't really have anything that was getting me excited about my day, and I kind of ended up sitting on my phone for a while and watching YouTube videos, scrolling through Instagram, and I just felt so heavy. And at the hostel on days like that where I'm kind of like, I don't really know what to do, I just walk into the common area and find someone to talk to and just vibe with them and kind of like click into their vibe for the day. But without another input, it was so easy to kind of get this heaviness like on me. And I kind of realized like I'm the one consenting to that. But honestly, what's great about going on your phone and feeling heavy or feeling numb or feeling not like yourself is the fact that it's directly communicating to you, this is not the pattern that I want to be in. Being abroad and being around people all the time has made me realize how much I value being an active person, how much I value stepping outside and getting out of my comfort zone and trying new things. Taking my camera on my last month of traveling showed me how much I actually love creating and how I actually love editing my videos so much more than I ever realized. And it also opened my mind up to the fact of like, I have an opportunity to develop a different relationship with the camera, and not to make them any sort of way because I think this video will go viral or that video is gonna make me money or this video is gonna get me subscribers. It's just about, I know that I'm gonna value this video when I look back at that. I'm gonna love it. Like, that's what matters. Is like, I loved creating it. I love the product that comes out on the other side. And then I put it out there to be shared for anybody else who could potentially get something out of it or potentially like is inspired by it. I don't know. When home doesn't feel like home anymore, it's super easy to feel a sense of heaviness and to feel a sense of how can I be myself? How can I be the party goer, extroverted, loving, shining, bubbly person that I was in this other context and bring that into my everyday life here. Because I can't basically live out of hostels forever. I don't want to live out of a backpack for the rest of my life, but I do want to have that strong sense of community. I do want to be that person that is a welcoming force into a space. And I also want to have the freedom to be creative, to focus on my own projects. And I want to be able to say no to certain social outings without the fear of missing out on connections that are really valuable. It feels really easy to get into the mindset of waiting for the next chapter of your life to happen. It's really easy to kind of convince yourself that where you are now is something you need to get out of, instead of realizing that where you are now is actually the opportunity to set up the rest of your life. And I don't mean to say that in a way that puts any sort of pressure on you or me, because really I'm kind of talking to myself right now. Every experience you have offers you a new level of clarity. Every experience that you have informs and transforms your relationship with everything. Your relationship with yourself, your relationship with your social life, your relationship with technology, with your career, with money. And when you come home and it doesn't feel the same as it used to, I feel like, to me, I actually feel liberated in a way that I never have before. Because one, if this doesn't feel like home, then I know I'm not supposed to be here forever. I'm gonna tell you a story of the day I left Europe. I made a friend abroad named Mancho, and he is a tattoo artist. He's self-taught, he's exceptional. This is his information if you would like it. If you're a traveler, if you're in Europe, just like hit him up. He will give you a tattoo. Not for free, but like you can get one from him. And he was giving me this bad boy. Oh my god, who is she? While he was giving me this tattoo, which I designed, by the way, I designed it myself, I decided to go into the experience being fully present. I didn't sit down in the chair with the expectation of, oh fuck, this is really gonna hurt. Like, I was still a little nervous, don't get me wrong. I just went in with the intention of being fully present throughout that experience. And as he was tattooing me, I started to realize that I was really enjoying the feeling. Like, there were certain points where he'd be tattooing and it would hit a nerve and I would just feel like chills spread from that point of the needle spreading across my back. At some point in the process, I had the thought of, I'm enjoying this experience so much that I wish it could never end. And then when I actually thought about it, when I kind of switched my brain into almost like a hypothetical belief that this feeling was going to last forever, it suddenly felt like torture. I realized that if I believed that that sensation on my back would last forever, even if I was only 2 seconds in, the only thing that I would want is for that feeling to stop. But when I realize that this whole experience is a blip, this feeling that I have is a feeling I only get to experience in some few short moments of my life, it kind of changed my perspective on emotions, on where I am for any sort of period of time. Like, at the end of my time abroad, I definitely got into this headspace of, oh god, I can't wait to get out of here. I just want to be able to cocoon. I want to be able to be by myself. And then I would kind of subconsciously start to resent how much social activation was around me. But remembering that that experience is not a guarantee and every moment is not a guarantee and every single chapter or phase in my life gives me the opportunity to fully love and embrace that experience as it's happening, as opposed to wishing that things could be different. Because when you realize that every single type of moment, every single place you live, every single person you're around is not always a guarantee. Like, that best friend you see every day, and 3 years from now, the two of you could live 1,000 miles apart. That partner that you're currently with that makes you feel so much anxiety may not be your partner forever. The parents that you have probably will not be alive for the rest of your life. So when you recognize that, like, every single moment and every single period of your life is temporary, it opens the door for a much greater capacity for presence. Presence means you're not trying to find the ways to fix it. You're just fully in acceptance of what the experience is right now in front of you. And that doesn't mean not creating new habits. In fact, being fully present actually shows you how to embrace where you are now in a way that sets up the best habits, the best mentality, the best relationship styles that you carry with you into the future, because the future is just full of a million other present moments. And if you learn how to make your present, regardless of where you are, something that you can always find value in, that's how you guarantee a better future for yourself. It's not by making yourself miserable now, working a job and making so much money so that you have enough money to survive in 10 years, which I'm not saying don't save up, like save up, that's a really good idea. It's about developing the ability to say, this is my opportunity to find a way to make money that actually feels fulfilling to me. This is my opportunity to find gratitude for the fact that maybe even though this job isn't my dream job or my ideal situation, this is offering me so many things that will feed my future. This is something that I will look back on and be grateful for. This position, this place, these people are giving me opportunities that will enrich my future. And so when that moment is right in front of you in the present, you're not looking through the lens of, I need to get out of here and my job sucks because of this and I hate this and I hate that. Instead, you see the opportunity that's in front of you. And it's not even about finding the exact answers to those questions right now. All I have to do is figure out what feels like peace to me, what feels like satisfaction and fulfillment to me, what enriches my present moment every single day, what does home feel like to me inside of me. If I trust that the universe wants what I want, and I know that being here is not exactly what I want, then I know this experience is temporary. I know that being in this environment with these circumstances is only a blip in the rest of my life, which means that the things that I'm going to get out of being here are things that I may not actually have the luxury of experiencing in 5 or 10 years. And so why not take full advantage and hold full appreciation for what is right in front of me? Home not feeling like home anymore can definitely feel like a form of grief, but at the end of the day, sometimes being in the place where you don't belong gives you the opportunity to come back to yourself. It gives you the opportunity to say, I know for certain that these things are not what I want, but also these are the things that I do want. So use that feeling of not belonging anywhere, continue to blossom you into the version of yourself that feels like home. The you that feels like a vessel that is exactly what you want for yourself, basically. And that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please do all the things, click all the buttons, and I will see you guys next time. Ciao. Bing bong, bing bong, bing bong. I love you guys.